hokey intro. It's usually more geared towards the artist.
Right.
We haven't done a hokey intro in a while.
Oh, you wait, my friend.
We did that hokey pokey intro once.
We did,
well,
yeah.
We got all turned around, though. It got weird.
Yeah, it got real weird.
Yeah, it was weird. And that's kind of what the whole thing was about anyway, so at least it sort of fit.
Yeah. The motif was there. You know what I mean?
We kept things up thematically.
You know, like you're trying to... I can't keep it.
No.
I couldn't connect it.
That might be a new course record.
Let's start off by putting the right foot in, and we'll talk about how today on the Fairly KickAss podcast, we're going to do a one song.
Real quick, I apparently lied. You actually are still very hot.
Yeah,
which I didn't notice until after your voice came up a bit.
All right, I did raise my voice a little bit there, though. So how about now?
There you go.
Better?
Say the voice raise part again.
The voice raise part again.
Oh, yeah, you're still blazing on that. I know you're not going to be yelling the whole time, but...
No, I won't. But I will talk probably about right now because I get excited. Is that better?
I think so, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's right. The music can cut me off now.
Well, the left foot brings in the music.
What are we even doing here?
Like
today on the Fairly KickAss pod. No, sorry.
I was going to say, like the man said, he's doing a one song, but...
They probably couldn't hear that through all the farting microphone noises that my extra hot microphone was making.
We worked it out, though, because we're professionals.
Yeah.
Well, we work with a professional.
That is true. The producer of the show, the one and only producer, Nikki, is probably the only professional of the four of us. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so if we're going to do, first of all, I'm Jay, he's Zach, and that's Dan, and we're going to talk about the one song to rule them all for Drake.
Drizzy.
The
sixth god, however you'd like to slice him up. He doesn't have as many nicknames as Lil Wayne. I'll say that much.
True. He does have more songs, though.
Does he really?
Well, yes.
Well, I mean, that are his own albums, yes.
Interesting. I did not realize that.
He has more.
Sorry, I was making sure that what I wrote is correct. So add Champagne Papi to the list as well.
Champagne Papi, indeed.
Yes, actually, especially recently because he likes to release 3 albums a year, 80 tracks an album. He's working on King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard territory.
What a work rate, right? Like, if you count his just studio albums only, like, he's only been in the game for 13 years. And yet, he has taken the game by storm since before his debut album, arguably.
Yeah, and it seems like it's been longer than that.
It actually does. When you say only 13, I'm like, really? You sure about that?
Yeah,
2010.
It seems like it's been longer.
For better and for worse.
No. Like, yeah, the math checks out.
Which I'm sure we'll get into. I'm sure we'll get into the for better and for worseness of it. But let's give a rundown of how this all works, just for those who may not have been here on our last few of these. How this goes is each of us is going to present what we feel is the single greatest song in the catalog of the artist that we've chosen to do today. And we'll each have 2 minutes to give our opinion with no interruption from the peanut gallery. And then some time for rebuttal after it. Sound good?
Now, I know some of these have been light on the rebuttal part. I feel like this is not going to be light. I feel like we're all going to feel a sort of way about every decision that the other one makes, which is good.
I has opinions.
You got to. It's a spice of life or something. As always, we like to give our random order, our batting order, if you will, for the obligatory baseball analogy, to determine who is going to clean up first. And that today is going to be, drumroll please, Jay. You're going to be leading us off in the circle. I will be following up in the on-deck box, and then Dan will be the closer coming out of the bullpen.
Look, all 3 of those things were at least baseball related, so I feel like we got to win this time.
We're getting better, ass kickers. We're getting better.
No, we're not. Okay. No, he's not.
That's more like it.
I'm going to save us and go, Jay, I've got a clock whenever you're ready.
Woohoo! All right, I guess whenever you just want me to start and you'll hit go?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, then in 3, 2, 1. So how can I explain myself? Let's start with a disclaimer. I do not like Drake. This particular one song was a Sisyphean chore of the highest order. Choosing the best Drake tune is like trying to find the best bullet wound or the smoothest sandpaper. At the end of the day, it's still like digging out a bullet with sandpaper. That being said, there are a handful of tunes that are less painful, and the chiefest of those, and you already know it if you caught my little hint at the very beginning of this delivery, is Nice for What. The track truly represents where Drake's talents lie. In taking other people's stuff and smashing it together. The most audacious of these songs that he has put together on this track is X Factor by Ms. Lauryn Hill. Wonderful tune that he's pitched up and layered over samples from Get Your Roll On by Big Timers, Drag Rap by the Showboys, and a few other bits and pieces in there. The mix is masterful, easy to jam to, and laced with plenty of hype moments. For Drake's vocal part in the track, he presents a powerful message of empowerment that is only somewhat distracted by the repetitive lyrics. His flow is on point, passionate, energetic, and crystal clear. On Nice for What, Drake shows us what he's truly good at, making friends. This song was produced by Murda Beats, Noah 40 Shabib, and Corey Litwin, with co-production handled by Black and Mild. It features additional vocals by Big Freedia and Fifth Ward Weeby. It contains samples, which I've already mentioned, and that means that, and since Lauryn Hill's track also samples Can It All Be So Simple by the Wu-Tang Clan, which samples The Way We Were, there's a lot of co-credits on the song. For all of those reasons, because all those good tracks are a part of it, I nominate Nice for What as Drake's best song. I thank you all for your support, and I have no time to yield back.
The only thing I want to know, Jay, is I want to know who motherfucking representing in here tonight.
A whole lot of people.
Yeah, you went through a fucking book of folks. Holy shit.
I actually had the names listed for who's credited as songwriters, but I did not have time to list them. So,
well, I do have a feeling we're going to be hearing from 40 specifically later, since I know that he has had a lot of collaboration with Drake over the years. This, if I were ranking songs, and I am, because that's what we do here.
It's literally all we do.
That's it. That's our gimmick, guys. You found us out. This would be my number 3 for sure. So I'm not going to have a lot of bad things to say about it. Obviously, you mentioned the Lauryn Hill sample. Very few better in the game to sample. We certainly discussed her ad nauseum on our 90s hip hop Rush episode, which y'all should go back down a little bit and take a listen to if you haven't already. I think you mentioned kind of the repetitive nature of some of Drake's lyrics, and I feel like it's hard to ding him for that because that's such a common theme amongst his songs. It's infuriating. Like, verse 2 should not be verse 1, my dude. Like, you're better than that. And he really is. I'm not just saying that as to be glib, but he is really better than that. He's proven that for, like we said, 13 years.
I think I'm going to be completely agree with you where I have Nice for What. And it's at 3. And the only reason it fell that far in my head is the repetitive lyrics. Like, it has all the other traits that I'm looking for because the song is an absolute banger. And that's off a record that on the whole isn't great. Scorpion is not an easy listen from front to back.
No.
This is like the rare gem amongst the turds, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I get there's a lot of pieces and parts into it, but that's also hip hop now.
Admittedly, the fact that it's on Scorpion probably makes me like it more than I would have on a different record because it just stands out that much more.
Fair.
I guess points for sucking everywhere else.
But I do still love the song either way. So there's that.
It's a certified banger, like Dan said. It's hard to nitpick it. It really is. Good shit, man. Good choice.
Well, what do we get to nitpick next?
Like I said, it was between 2, and I'm not going to allude to what the other one was just because I don't want to possibly step on Dan's toes, but I'm ready to jump in.
Hang on. Pull the clock up.
Okay.
Move it so I can see you. visual jokes work really well in an audio medium. That's all I'm going to. I will also say, just start talking and I'll press start.
Okay, works for me. Jay, Dan, and ass kickers. You know, I like to go straight to the heart of an artist's discography when we do these one songs. I've proven it over the last several one songs that we've done. You know, I like to ask the question, what is the bread and butter? What is the kind of meat that the artist really exudes the most of? And sometimes I pick a song from that wheelhouse. Sometimes I go off script and go with something kind of out in the ether. With Drake, someone who has, as we discussed, a lot of songs that kind of fall into a very similar motif, I felt that it made sense to stay within that wheelhouse and find the best of that bunch. What is that wheelhouse, though, exactly with Drake? You know, you know it if you've heard a Drake song, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of humble bragging, and you're going to get a lot of just bragging about success and all of its many spoils, but you're also going to potentially get some raps about the trappings of fame, showing us listeners that, yes, he may have the nice cars and everything, but it's not always greener on the other side. There is one track I feel like that exhibits this the best, giving a very real, introspective, and downright mature take for a then 23-year-old who had already blown up before he even released his debut album, which is coincidentally where this track resides. From Thank Me Later, this song is The Resistance. As far as I could tell, it's the only track that Drake's manager, Oliver El Khatib, collabs on, along with the aforementioned Noah Shabib and Boy Wonder. Our guy flows on a very smooth beat in a way that comes off as almost anxious, still quite confident that he made good decisions with regard with his future, but with enough seeds of doubt sown in that he second guesses it, if only a little bit. If enough people tell you that the money changed you, you might start to believe it. I think all of us who could relate if we got to that point, and Drake exhibits it beautifully throughout this entire track. Thank you for listening to my rant, and I also concede no more time.
At least clockwise, we're on fire, boys.
I was just gonna say this is really awkward. We don't do this.
What?
It's like we prepped.
Prep?
The hell is that?
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I cut out an entire paragraph because I was over time, so don't give me too much credit.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And I have to admit, like, I can't have anything on this one because I did not go that far back to the debut record. I dug into the mixtapes, a lot of mixtapes.
Oh my god, yeah.
So I don't have this one on the top of my head.
I do. I did go back to it, and it's on my honorable mentions list. But sort of a deeper cut into the honorable mentions list because my honorable mentions list is thin.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, well, there's like nothing that, and this is the only song from that record that I would have called up, and that's the only reason it's on my honorable mentions because it's the only one from that record that I thought warranted being on any sort of list. And honestly, that was just for lyrics. Lyrically, I think the song's great. Mm-hmm. I do think he's got a decent flow on it, but I don't think he's hit his stride yet. I think he shows a lot of potential on this one, but he's not all that.
It's raw for sure. I felt refreshing, honestly.
Yeah. Normally I like raw, but with him, it sounds not good.
Right.
Like raw is weak on his stuff.
Yeah. I can go with
he
that.
Sounds not just raw. He sounds green, like really green.
For sure he does. You know, I think for me, considering the theme, considering it was almost like a future telling for someone who hasn't been the Drake that he's kind of portraying, I thought that was actually a really cool sort of dichotomy. But I totally agree. He goes way harder on other tracks.
Yeah, and then there are some stuff like this song has the line, which most of the lyrics are great, I should say, because it does have that one line that he had to have thought it was really clever when he said, I avoided the Coke game and went with Sprite instead.
I love that fucking lyric, dude.
I do, but it's so dumb.
It's so dumb. I can't dispute that, but it's so, like, I laughed every time I heard it, like the 5 times I listened to the song for this, like every time it came up.
So we're in this charm because he has several of those lines. You're just kind of like, hey, what? Hang on. hang on. You do know this doesn't make any sense, right? Like this is not what you think it is, right? And that's why I think he knows that. And now he's just trolling us.
It's not a clever line. It's amusing, but not in the way I think he intended it to be.
For sure. Oh, and like you said, he was green. He tried,
He tried.
Well, Dan, I've got a clock ready for you, my friend, if you're ready to accept it.
All right, I hate when I do. Actually, really quick, before I get to the actual song, I just want to throw this out, and maybe we can argue about this whole thing later, but I will throw out there that Drake's best verse is Lemon Pepper Freestyle. We can get that later, though. But on the actual one song, which apparently was a harder choice than I would have expected, and that sounds like the same thing for y'all. I knew going in that I would have to decide whether or not I was going to overrate Drake's R&B crooner tracks, where he really doesn't get as much credit for his ability to do that as he probably should. But that's not the direction I could find myself going. Instead, I made right for a track that distills everything that Drake is as a rapper into one dark, hard-driving track full of memorable lines and some pounding production. Off of the double platinum mixtape, if you're reading this, it's too late, Drake's one song is Know Yourself. It's another invitation to Drake's world as he runs through the six with his woes that straddles that line between an over-the-top humble brag and a public therapy session. We get taken on his journey of success and reminded exactly what talents brought him to this point. But he's also reflective. He's looking back at his upbringing and how it's helped him get to where he's at. His message, stay true to yourself and be proud of that. And his method is this dark trap beat, pushing his rapid fire one-liners through this plotting song that sounds far more ominous than it actually is. Like kind of my favorite genre, just backwards. It's the perfect vehicle for Drake's own brand of braggadocio even when he falls into one of the classic hip-hop tropes. Just bragging himself. He still finds a way to make it unique and catchy and dark and slightly uncomfortable all at the same time, making it the best track in his huge portfolio. And gentlemen, you can have those 3 seconds back.
Oh, you had like 20 seconds. But...
Oh, I started my clock right before I said it. So yeah, no, that was still.
Oh no, I wasn't counting you down for the freestyle or for the lyric comment.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Overly professional. My man is fucking overachieving over here.
I hit start when I started reading.
Hey, I was giving you too much credit, it sounds like.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't deserve it.
I mean, you talked about one interesting thing that I clocked as you were really starting, and something that I clocked myself but really didn't do a good job kind of discussing, was the rapper Drake versus the singer Drake. And I totally agree that the crooner, as you called him, does not get as much respect as he should.
No, there's honestly, because my honorable mention list is much more robust, I think, than Jay's. Marvin's Room is on there. Sure. Hold on, I'm coming home would be like my number 2. For that,
that is legit. That is the rest of my honorable mentions list. You just said it.
All right.
Those 2 tracks. That's it.
Yeah, I think some of Drake's best work has come off of the mixtapes, and this certainly is no exception whatsoever.
I don't like it. I'm sorry. This track for me was entirely braggadocio, and half of it I didn't even like. And this might just be me, right? I couldn't. The whole first part of that song, I don't get a lyric out of it. I don't know what the beginning of that song is. I can't figure it out. And then it's just braggadocio after that for me.
Well, I was kind of on the opposite side. Like I wasn't a fan of, again, the repetitive Drake syndrome. I guess we'd call it what, RDS at this point. Since it happens so often, the chorus specifically, like, it sounds lovely. It sounds great. It just is so repetitive. But again, we're grading against the curve here, right, fellas? So it's hard to, ding when there's so much of that going on.
Part of it's style, part of it. I mean, but at the same time, like that repetitive part is also what has sort of become a Toronto anthem. Like, literally running through the 6 on burn your roads to the 6 is a thing. It's a saying.
Which I guess I don't know that. So it made no sense to me. And I thought it was just nonsense. Because he's good at that too. He spouts a lot of nonsense throughout his career.
I know. I did listen to Certified Lover Boy too.
Part that I unfortunately had to cut out of my own diatribe was definitely shitting on Certified Lover Boy. Because it's deserved.
There's highs and there's lows.
Every artist has them.
And the rest of it, honestly, never mind.
For fuck's sake. Get out.
Had to throw it in there somewhere. He did it to himself.
He really did.
He did it
this
to
is Drake's
himself.
fault. Let that be clear. This is not Jay's fault. It's just
true.
a bystander.
It's true. Well, I know we covered Jay's honorable mention list. Zach, what else was on yours? See how closely these might have aligned.
You talked about Nice for What. That was certainly on there. What would have been the song that I was kind of going back and forth on was God's Plan. But the repetitive nature is what threw me off of it. You know, we keep going back to that.
Same thing. Couldn't keep it up there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a sucker for a ballad, and one of the closest things to a ballad that Drake had was Best I Ever Had. That was the first Drake song that I've ever heard, and probably several other people off of his third mixtape, like right before his debut album. The name, of course, escapes me as I'm sitting here looking at it. And then Marvin's Room, like you said, just a smooth as you like,
So I did.
So I guess pretty thin too. Now that I think about it,
I guess I did because I had on top of that, and as I mentioned, Hold On Coming Home, but I also ready for the shitstorm that's going to be when I say Hotline Bling was up there in the top 5.
Balls.
I don't hate Hotline Bling, dude.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You say that.
It's a cool ass beat, man. It's a cool song.
I know.
I will give you the beat. Yeah, I'll grant you the beat, but I cannot grant you the rest of it.
Yeah, but you're picturing the video in your head right now.
Exactly. That's what fucking does it is the video.
That's what fucking does it. It's how it's there. Yeah, you just drop your head because I'm right on that one. You think of the dance right now.
But the song is awful. The song is so bad.
Not really.
And
I went with Andrew. I had my feelings as well. Marvin's Room, obviously. One Dance, which didn't get mentioned, which was that hit that you're like, this is Drake? Yeah, this is Drake. Oh yeah, okay, all right.
I forgot about One Dance. That's actually a pretty dope song. There's that weird like machine gun sample right before the final chorus, which I don't know why that's there, but
that makes no sense. But sure, okay. A bit of a deeper cut with Passion Fruit, and then swerve on this one because I might have just kind of let it go by the wayside a couple months ago when I had to review it as a new song. But Laugh Now, Cry Later with Lil Durk.
Yeah, I will readily admit to not have given the latter half of Drake's catalog probably its proper due because it is so due.
Yeah, there's a reason Toosie Slide and the like are not on any of these lists.
Correct.
Yeah, you want to talk about a bad song with a bad music video? There you go.
Yep,
yeah, that one hits the trifecta. Song counts twice.
That's fair. 100% fair.
Is the third one for the ass dance is barely a dance?
What is he even doing?
Left foot up, right foot slide. And that's it. Just
like
it's not
like
a dance.
It's like 2 commands in the cha-cha slide, and that's the whole thing.
It's basically our hokey pokey intro is what it is.
Right? Well, yeah, we brought that shit full circle.
Our hokey pokey intro had more maneuvers in it.
It really did.
Agreed.
It really did. I say again, Drake, you're better than that.
What a maneuver it was.
It's more of a gesture.
Well, I got a gesture for you. Let's get out of this. Let's let the listeners vote, the ass kickers. Let's let them vote for which one of us they think is right. I know it's me. They don't have to vote, but they should. They should let us know. How would they go about letting us know who they vote for?
There are actually a couple of good ways, and I will cover them right now. Facebook.com/Fairly KickAss is where you need to go for the Facebookings if you want to get a hold of us that way. FairlyKickAss@gmail.com if you prefer the email route. We are always listening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, minus several hours and days. FairlyKickAss.com, which I have to give all the credit to Dan because I feel like you've been the only one posting on that website in the last year. So kudos to you, my friend.
Well, I was going to scream about there being new content up there the last couple week or so, but then realizing the gap between the last time I had posted. So
Hey, recency bias,
don't give me too much credit just yet.
Recency bias is a motherfucker. And it's very beneficial in this case. But yeah, I think we're all going to be getting into that mix, kind of figuring out how we can make that a little bit more robust, a little bit more entertaining for y'all. Because that's the whole point of this, is entertainment. That's what we're here for. And speaking of that entertainment, right here on your Spotify box of choice is where you can find us. Just search for Fairly KickAss. Take a listen to all of our previous episodes. We have several more of these one songs, if that's more your speed. We have plenty of deep dives, if that's more your speed. We're actually cooking up one that we're going to be releasing here in the very near future, so be on the lookout for that. And several other types of episodes too. So let us know what you think about this, what you think about everything, and stay tuned for more good stuff from a different podcast. We don't do that here.
Quality Job 27.
Truer than y'all know. All right, bye.